2 weeks ago, I asked you to write down one thing you were told that turned out not to be true. Last week, I asked you to make a ledger, what loyalty cost you, and the name of one person you lost. If you did both, you now have something rare. You have a file, your own file. Evidence, gathered by you, for you. Now I want to show you the third trick they used on you. And this one is different. The first two, fear stacking, the loyalty trap, those were loud. They worked by overwhelming you. Trick number 3 works the opposite way. It's quiet. It doesn't shout. It repeats. It's called the big lie told small. And by the time you noticed what it had done to your thinking, it had already been living in your head for years. Welcome back to the Wayfinding Station. I'm Ms. Peck. This is the MAGA EXIT. 18 weeks, one decision. Episode 3. Here's the thing about big lies. Everyone thinks they'd recognize one. Everyone pictures the dramatic moment, the dictator at the podium, the obvious falsehood, the crowd that knows it's false but cheers anyway. That's not what happened to you. What happened to you was smaller. And because it was smaller, you didn't notice it happening. Let me show you how this trick works, and I want you to read along with me. The big lie. Told Small has 3 steps. Step 1. They take something true and tilt it. Not a complete lie. Not yet. Just a tilt. A small distortion of something you already half believe. The system is rigged. Well, sometimes it is. The media gets things wrong. Well, sometimes they do. The tilt borrows credibility from the part that's true. Step 2. They repeat the tilted version until it feels like common sense. Not once. Not dramatically, just every day. In the group chat, on the broadcast, in the memes. The same tilted claim, delivered casually, as if it's already settled fact. Step 3. They use your own repetition against you. Once you've said it yourself, shared the post, nodded along at dinner, repeated the line to your brother-in-law, your brain does something interesting. Psychologists call it the consistency principle. Once you've said it, you're inclined to defend it. Not because you've examined it, because you've invested in it. That's the trap. And here's the part that should make you angry. They didn't ask you to believe a lie. They asked you to repeat a tilt. And your own repetition did the rest. Let me give you an example. A real one. For years, one small tilt was repeated so often that millions of people accepted it as fact. It went like this. They're coming for your way of life. On its own. That sentence is vague enough to be unverifiable. Who is they? What does coming for mean? What way of life, specifically? But when you hear it every day, from people you trust, in language that feels urgent, your brain stops asking those questions. The tilt becomes the wallpaper. You stop seeing it. And then, because the tilt is already there, the next claim can be bigger. They want to replace you. Now we're not tilting anymore. Now we're lying. But the foundation. They're coming for you. Was laid so gently, over so many repetitions, that the escalation feels like confirmation. Not contradiction. Confirmation. That's the trick. The small lie makes the big lie feel true. Let me show you the receipt on this one. Because this isn't abstract. People profited. The same people who told you the system was rigged were the people rigging it. The same people who told you they're coming for your way of life were the ones taking your money and spending it on themselves, which we proved in episode 1. The architects of this tilt did something very specific. They took a legitimate human fear, the fear of losing your place, your identity, your people, and they aimed it at a target that could never be defeated, because it didn't exist. It was a composite. A blur. They. And as long as you were looking at them, you weren't looking at the people who were emptying your pockets and isolating you from your family. That's not an accident. That's the third trick, red pen graded. Circle this. The enemy they gave you was a distraction. The tilt kept you looking left while they took everything from the right. Let's breathe. Because realizing you were tilted, and stayed tilted for years, that's a hard thing to sit with. Last week, I gave you the 2-column ledger. what you lost, and what you can do. Episode 1, I gave you Epictetus on the dichotomy of control. What is yours? What is not? Tonight, I want to give you a different Stoic tool. It comes from the same teacher, Epictetus, and it's the tool for exactly this moment. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about things." But here's what most people miss about that sentence. He wasn't saying, just think positive. He was saying something much more practical. He was saying, between the event and your reaction, there is a split second where you decide what the event means. The tilt exploits that split second. When the broadcast says, they're coming for your way of life, your brain has to interpret that. And if you've heard it 100 times before, your interpretation is preloaded. You don't pause and ask, who specifically, coming how, what evidence? The tilt has already answered those questions for you. So here's your Stoic tool for episode 3, the pause. Before you accept a claim, especially one that makes you afraid or angry, pause. Count to 3, and ask yourself 3 questions in this order. 1. Is this factually specific, or is it vague enough to mean anything? 2. Who benefits if I believe this without checking? 3. Have I heard this before, and did I accept it then without evidence too? That's it. 3 questions, 3 seconds. The pause. The tilt works by exploiting your speed. Your fear response is faster than your reasoning. The pause gives your reasoning a chance to catch up. You are not stupid for having been tilted. You are human. The tilt exploits a feature of the human brain, the same feature that lets you drive a car without consciously thinking about every movement, that lets you recognize a friend's face in a crowd instantly. It's automatic processing. It's efficient, and it can be hijacked. The pause is how you take it back. Here's the pivot. Because this station is not a place where we just feel bad about what was done to us. This is a place where we decide what to do next. The exit ramp for episode 3 is this. You get to recalibrate. If the tilt distorted your perception, you now have the tool to correct it. Not overnight, not perfectly, but systematically. Here's what that looks like in practice. This week, when you hear a political claim, any claim from any source, run the pause. 3 seconds, 3 questions, and then decide, do I accept this, reject it, or hold it for evidence? Most of what you hear you'll hold. That's fine. Holding is not weakness. Holding is wisdom. The gang wanted you to accept instantly and repeat loudly. The reading teacher wants you to hold, examine, and decide on your own terms. And here is the neighbor invitation. Because every episode, we offer it. There is someone in your life who still believes the tilt. Someone who hasn't done this work. Someone who might even be angry at you for doing it. You do not have to fix them. You do not have to argue with them. You do not have to send them this video. But you can model something. You can be the person who doesn't react instantly. The person who asks questions. The person who says calmly, I'd want to see evidence for that before I accept it. That is not weakness. That is the reading teacher's posture, and it is more persuasive than any argument you could ever make. Because here's the truth they don't want you to learn. A person who can pause is a person who can think, and a person who can think cannot be controlled by a tilt. Homework for episode 3. 3 things, 1 for each question in the pause. 1. This week, find 1 political claim, from any source, any side, and run it through the 3 questions. Write down the claim. Write down your answers. What did you discover? 2. Go back through your file. Look at the thing you were told that turned out not to be true. From episode 1, look at the name of the person you lost. From episode 2, now ask, what tilt made me believe the lie? What tilt made me choose the gang over this person? 3. Practice the pause on something small. A headline, a group chat message, a comment section. Before you react, 3 seconds, 3 questions. Just once this week. See what changes. 18 weeks, 1 decision. The first 2 tricks were loud. Fear, loyalty. They overwhelmed you. The third trick is quiet. It's the tilt. It's the repetition. It's the thing you didn't notice because it was designed for you not to notice. But now you know. Now you have the pause. Now you have the three questions. And here is what the tilt could not take from you: your ability to see clearly once someone shows you how. You're seeing now. You're reading the room. You're holding the compass. This is the week you decide. Not who to vote for, not which side to join. This week you decide, am I going to keep reacting on instinct? Or am I going to start pausing, examining, and deciding for myself? Because once you start pausing, you stop being useful to people who need you to react. And that, oh, right there, is the beginning of freedom. I'll be here next Tuesday. Same time, same lantern. Bring your file. Bring your three questions. Bring the compass. We're just getting started.